It should say empleado clasificado, correcto? Correct?
Yeah, but you read the sentence, it says classified school employees will have changes in report times in alignment with the late start.
Oh, okay. Okay. I already saw it. Thank you.
Right. So it is 5:30. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for, all right. Thank you for your commitment, your dedication. After you find yourself here, we appreciate your presence, your involvement, your participation. Marcus Funches, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. And I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone who's been able to get us to this point. So I want to thank our board of trustees, from President Scott Wyatt to Vice President Tillman and the rest of our board. Also want to thank our Superintendent Mauricio Arellano for his support and commitment to the district and this venture. I want to thank our executive cabinet team as well, who's been instrumental in making sure that we have the support necessary to move forward. Our administrators across the district, at the school sites and in the district office, many of them are here on the call tonight to support us with safety, transportation, after school, before and after school programs, employee relations. I want to thank you for a job well done. I also want to thank our educators, our teachers across the district for a job well done this year, educating our students, and our classified staff as well. All of our employees, job well done, making sure that we get through this year very well and prepare for next school year. Our students, our scholars, this is why we do this. We come to work on a daily basis to make sure that we can support your future aspirations. Our families who stood by us throughout this year and the preceding year, supporting us and helping us make the right decisions to get Late Start going in the right direction. And then also all of our community members and community partners who also understand the importance of the Late Start implementation and how we get through doing it in such a way that's very supportive and doing it with a listening ear. So with that being said, I don't see anyone on the call just yet that I may have to turn over to. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our family engagement team, Director Beatrice Gonzalez and her team, for a few housekeeping items before we get into the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Welcome, everyone. Alvaro, if you could please go over this slide.
Sounds good. So, hola, buenas tardes a todos. Gracias por estar aquí hoy. Para las personas que quieran acceder a servicios de interpretación por Zoom, pueden, si están desde su teléfono o tableta, oprimir los 3 puntos que ve en su pantalla. Oprima la opción Language Interpretation o interpretación. Seleccione el idioma Spanish. Y por último, deslice el botón Mute Original Audio. Si usted está desde su ordenador o computadora, haga clic en el icono del globo localizado en la parte de abajo de su pantalla, como lo muestra en la gráfica. Escoja el idioma Spanish y luego, por último, seleccione Mute Original Audio. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alvaro. And again, we would like to welcome everyone that's here today, and we definitely want to hear from you. This is the highlight of why we do what we do. So during the presentation, we ask that you use the chat to provide comments or ask questions, and we will have different directors and different just team members answering your questions. And if there is a question that is not able to be answered, we will definitely provide you with the information and obtain your contact information privately. So if you go to the next slide, there is an alternative way. If you have personal questions, we don't want you adding your personal information in the chat. We want to keep this as private as possible for you. So there is a number that you can text, and many of you are familiar with the process. It's 909-578-0579. And what we do ask is that you please include the question, your child's name and school, and a callback number, because again, definitely it is our goal to make sure that you your voice is heard and that your questions are answered. So again, please use this number for any personal questions, and we will definitely get back to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Beatrice. Next slide, please. Before we jump into tonight's information and talk about where we're headed with Late Start, we'll turn it over to Mrs. Alexis Jinks to give us a little bit of positivity around our basics for excellence. Alexis, please.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Good evening, everyone, all parents and employees who are supporting on this call. Good afternoon to you all. It is appropriate that we start our meeting with use of basics for excellence, and the basics for excellence that we have chosen for tonight that we feel is appropriate is our sense of purpose. So sense of purpose, with this basics, our actions are focused and contribute to the attainment of our mission. So throughout this entire process, as our district has been preparing for the implementation of Late Start, we have had support from our community partners, our parents, our scholars, our union partners, also our board members, their leadership, cabinet's leadership, and much collaboration from our employees. So all have had a helping hand and have had focused actions towards us obtaining and being able to implement Late Start at the beginning of next school year. So we welcome all to this meeting. I'm turning it now to our meeting facilitator. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jinks. And before we jump in, I do see Board President Dr. Scott Wyatt has joined us this evening. And Dr. Wyatt, we would be out of order if we didn't give you an opportunity to say a few words before we jump in, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Funches. Just great to see everybody here. I'm here just to observe. I'm a casual observer like everyone else, and to listen to everybody's input, questions and concerns, so we can relay that message to the board and make sure that everybody has an active voice and are participating in this process. And if there are concerns, that we can work with everybody on them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate that, Dr. Wyatt. Thank you for your ongoing support and commitment to this endeavor. Next slide, please. And going back to something Mrs. Jinks stated, as we got going with Late Start and looking at implementing Late Start, I want to draw everybody's attention to our board's support and direction for making sure that we gathered the input of said teachers, staff, community partners, union leaders. And so that was very important to our board of trustees. And as we talk through some of the implementation pieces tonight, we'll make sure that we remind everyone of that commitment and of that dedication. As Dr. Wyatt just stated, should there be any things that we need to continue to examine, we will do that. We appreciate you and thank you for that. So our objectives tonight are very simple: to make sure that we review the Late Start requirement, or the requirements that the state of California have provided for all LEAs or school districts. We're going to make sure that we review our school schedules, elementary, middle, and high school. Maria Espinosa is here to give an overview of how transportation will work for our school schedules and the Late Start schedules. Mrs. Ann Pearson is on hand to provide some information and answer any questions about before and after school programs as well, and some of the opportunities that are there for our parents, our scholars, right? We'll touch on the first day of school and when that is and what to prepare for the first day of school, like drop off and pickup times. And then our Mr. Vatier is on hand too to provide an update around student safety and what we're doing to try to make sure, that we're paying close attention to keeping our scholars safe before and after school when it comes to things like traffic and some of the other things that you've let us know that you might have concerns about. And then finally, we'll open it up to you for questions, and we'll try to answer as many of them as we can. Should we not be able to answer any of those questions, we'll definitely follow up and put out a Q&A or FAQ based on this evening's question. So we appreciate you. We thank you for being here. Next slide. As you may remember, the state of California a few years ago in 2019 passed legislation for having our secondary, middle and high school students start school at a later time. And the requirement is middle school start no earlier than 8 o'clock a.m. and high school no earlier than 8:30 a.m. And they required all LEAs or school districts to implement said law or legislation by July 1, 2022, or at the expiration of the collective bargaining agreement. Our collective bargaining agreement with our teachers union, or SBTA, expires this year in 2023. So our board, under their direction, gave us time to implement Late Start, and we used that time to really dig into transportation matters. We used that time to survey our community. We used that time to work out a few details of what school schedules might look like, and also look at it from before and after school angle, the programs there, and also athletics. So it gave us time to prepare and go deeper with how Late Start implementation would work in our district. And I'd like to just remind everyone one more time, it's a state mandate. There was no opting out of this mandate. We had to make sure that we got into or we implemented Late Start. I'll say that there. And I wanted to pause just for a quick second. I know there may have been another board member who may have been entering. So I want to make sure that I don't miss any board members that might be with us. Let's see here.
Dr. Funches, we have Ms. Alexander, board member Alexander.
Ms. Felicia Alexander, welcome. We are glad to have you here. And before we move forward, Ms. Alexander, we'll give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. Just here, as President Wyatt mentioned, to listen and learn. Very happy to be a part of this meeting, and I'm just here to serve. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time and commitment.
And thank you, Ms. Alexander, for your commitment and dedication. Next slide, please, before we get into the other pieces. So here are our school schedules. As mentioned before, our school board provided direction for us to look into the best possible schedules that will support our educators, our staff, our community, our students, based on a number of factors. And our board took time to consider several options. If you remember, we presented a few options to our board and our Late Start Task Force and Transportation Task Force as well. And we landed on the schedules here. Elementary schedules will stay the same, as Late Start or SB328 does not require elementary students to start any later than they start now. So you see the regular day is 8:50 to 3:30 and so on. And then middle school, what you see there is the schedules for regular day, our Monday minimum day collaboration day, or MOU day, as we like to call it. And then our minimum days where our students exit early for one reason or another. I'd like to remind us that on collaboration day Mondays, the schedule that you see there for next year, they're the same schedules that we have now for MOU Mondays or collaboration day Mondays. And the reason we landed on that, working with our union partners and our board, is because it provides consistency. Many of our parents got used to that schedule, planned daycare around that schedule, and we wanted to make sure that we took that into consideration. Even our employees that have students in the district or contend with student after school care and daycare concerns, we made sure that we kept the MOU Monday collaboration day schedule. So middle school, regular day is 8 o'clock, collaboration day 9:45, minimum day 8 to 12:30. And then high school, to meet the requirements of SB 328 or Late Start, the regular day is 8:30 to 3:35. The collaboration day Mondays will remain 9:45 to 2:50, the later start. And minimum day and exam days will be 8:30 to 1:20 as well. So the school schedules were well thought out, well planned out in collaboration with many on this call and with our board direction and the Late Start Transportation Task Force. Please go to the next slide. Thank you. And then we'll move on down to the first day of school. This year, our first day of school would be July 31st. The calendar committee looking at all things school calendar. The decision was made based on some of the vacations that were in there to start on the 31st this year, which is the last day of the month. And so what does that mean for us or for you as parents or for us as educators and leaders in the district? The first day of school will follow the minimum day schedule as we shared with you on the previous slide. The minimum day schedule for elementary, middle, and high schools are as follows: 8:50 to 1 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 12:30, and 8:30 to 1:20. That's the first day of school this year. And so what we wanted to point out tonight was for all parents and community members and students and staff, just anticipate longer drop-off and pickup times during the first day of school, just because it's the first day of school. You have parents and students and looking for class schedules, maybe coming to register, should they not have done that, and other factors. So just anticipate longer drop-off pickup times. And when we get to the transportation piece, we know that there might be buses or busing or transportation that is getting their routes down and making sure that they get used to drop off pickup that week. So that's why we say anticipate longer drop off and pickup wait time. So we're going to move on to the next slide. And then I'm going to turn it over to Marie Espinosa to take us through the transportation and what we've done to meet the demands of Late Start or SB328. Marie, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Good afternoon, parents, community partners, all of you joining this call this evening. My name is Marie Espinosa, and I'm your Director of Student Transportation. With the new Late Start schedules, we could no longer tier our busing schedules the way they currently are tiered. Therefore, the district sought out additional vendors for the start of the new school year. Starting July 31st, the way our service is being serviced will be a little different than what you currently see. Our current partner, Durham School Bus, will continue servicing only elementary special needs students and any students leaving the district attending non-public schools. We have brought on a new provider, Zoom, and they will be servicing all of our secondary special needs scholars. And an additional new partner, First Student, will be providing transportation to all our general ed students K-12. One additional benefit of all the new providers will be that they will be providing new buses. And unlike your priors, First Student's coming in with a brand new fleet of buses with air conditioning. So now, regardless of the service that you're receiving, all our buses will have air conditioning. Now, with our inability to tier busing, and as mentioned, we brought in additional partners to make sure that we meet our service needs. We will be acquiring 200 additional bus routes out within the community. So we will grow from 200 bus routes to approximately 400 bus routes. And with that said, we will have a lot of new drivers. So as with anything, we provide every route, every stop location, but with the volume of new providers out there, new employees, we will expect some delays, but not too much, because our partners have been aggressively recruiting and preparing for the start of the school year, and they're out there. They'll be dry running these routes in early July to make sure that at the commencement of the new school year, regardless of who's picking up your scholar, you should receive timely service with a professional behind the wheel. The only real difference, other than the new schedule, will be who will be providing that service in that bus. But we're working really hard with our new partners to make sure that this goes without a hitch. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Espinosa, and I want to thank our transportation department and facilities and all who have worked hard to make sure that we got the transportation resources necessary for a successful implementation of Late Start. Thank you very much. Next slide. We'll go into before and after school programs in our wonderful before and after school team or programs team, EXL. Turn it over to Mrs. Ann Pearson at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Hopefully my internet is going to keep up here. It's been going in and out a little bit. So let me know if I break up at any time, and I'll try turning my camera off and seeing if that helps. So I am the proud director of our expanded learning. As everyone is familiar in our district, we call it Sunrise from before school and CAPS for after. So really great news that I get to share with everybody is that we have been expanding this past year, and to assist with our late start, we are fortunate enough to have been able to expand Sunrise to all of our middle and high schools. So it will now be offered at every school starting July 31st, our first day of school. So what you see in the slide in front of you right now is elementary stays the same. Drop-off time for Sunrise is 7:15, and it stays the same as our times haven't changed. Middle school drop-off is 7 a.m. and we're hoping that will help our parents that are used to dropping their kiddos off about that time this year. And for high school, that drop-off time is 7:15 a.m., which again, we hope will coincide with drop-off time for our parents right now. I am a parent of a high schooler at Cajon, and I can tell you about 7:15 is when it starts getting really busy when I drop off my student. So hopefully that will be able to help everybody out. We already had priority registration, and that ended April 28th. However, registration did reopen on May 12th. And if we go to the next slide, I'll give you a little more information on that. So this year, we have tried to make it as simple as we can for our parents. So if you have Aries Parent Portal, it's simply 3 to 4 very easy steps to register your child for the before and after school program this year. If you have, if you are one of our parents that have done it in the past, it was very time-consuming Google form, and we're not doing that anymore. So some people have even called us and asked, is it only, am I really done? It's only 4 steps, and it really is only 4 steps, believe it or not. Just make sure if you're needing that Sunrise to support your student before school because of the late start change, make sure you're marking Sunrise as well as CAPS. That is what we call our before school program if you're not familiar with it. I'm going to try to drop. Let's see if I do it right. The sign up link in the chat. And this will take you to the flyer, and then the flyer will take you for directions on exactly how to do it. It's just basically the flyer that is on here. Very simple steps. We did have some parents reach out to us and say, I don't have Aries Parent Portal. Can you help me with that? There is a code that you have to get from your school that your child attends right now. So the front office are the ones that are able to give you that code if you haven't already signed up for Parent Portal. And then we have helpful CAPS staffs and Sunrise staffs that are very eager to help you once you've proceeded with that step to register. So we encourage you to register now so we can make sure that we have plenty of staffing for all of our Sunrise kiddos. And I think that pretty much covers my part.
All right. And once again, I want to thank Ms. Ann Pearson and her excellent team for leading excellent efforts for expanded learning, both before and after school, and covering middle and high school. Job well done. And also doing it with great customer service for our parents and community. Thank you, Ms. Pearson, much appreciated. We're going to move on over, as I know that we're getting towards coming to the question and answer piece, but we wanted to make sure that we provided information on some safety updates. As we've sat in some of these meetings and others, questions have arisen around safety. And what we're doing to make sure that we are attending to student safety with the traffic and crosswalks and such. So Mr. Batir is on hand, who does an excellent job making sure to keep us up to date and communicating that out. So Eric, we'll turn it over to you for an update on student safety in regard to Late Start, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Good evening, everyone. I got some nice pictures here on the slide for us, but we do have an increase in our availability for crossing guards. So similar to our transportation system, knowing that Late Start could have an impact on our student walkers. We did reach out to our partner vendor, which is All City Management. Those are the crossing guards you'll see throughout our school district. And we asked them to up the amount of available crossing guards for our program. And so as we receive concerns, whether it be from community members, whether it be from our partners with the cities, our families, we go out and evaluate these crosswalks to see if it warrants a crossing guard. And we do have ample staff now with our partner vendor to staff these locations. And this will include all grade levels, so elementary, middle, and high school. Whereas in previous years, it was primarily for our smaller walkers that don't look left and right, our elementary school kids. Great partner with the city of San Bernardino and the city of Highland in our crosswalk and roadway improvements. So as you travel around the city, you'll notice many locations that are getting new lights, new signals, repainted crosswalks, and they're really focusing around our schools. And it started about a year ago up until the beginning of the school year so that we can ensure that all of our students that are in our crosswalks are in them safely. We're also working with the city to make sure that they're ADA compliant. So we know we do have students that are in wheelchairs, and we want to make sure that the accessibility throughout the city is there for them as well. And so you'll see a picture here on the right. That's one of our latest projects, our Safe Routes to Schools. So it's really a collaborative effort. So you'll see a couple of our board members on there, myself. You'll see a Buster the Bus from Omnitrans. Omnitrans is a great partner with us. And it really does take an entire village or entire community to make sure that our kiddos are safe from the time they leave their doorstep at your home till they arrive at our doorstep at school and vice versa. And we want to make sure that you have a way to reach out to us. Sometimes navigating a very large system can be difficult. So if you have any safety concerns, you can get a hold of us there at safety@sbcusd.com. And if we can't answer the question, we will definitely get it routed to the correct department internally or outside partner with city that can handle it for us there. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that detailed update, Mr. Vatier. We appreciate the work that you're doing and a collaborative effort to increase all resources to support student safety. So thank you, sir. We're going to move on down to the last piece in terms of the slides before we get to some of the Q&A. So this has to do with our school employees and their workday. Obviously, there are some things that we're still working through in terms of getting everybody settled in, especially on the classified side with the different classifications, because messaging has to go out about that. So some of the things that we're sharing here right now, it's a work in progress, and I'll make mention of that. But for our certificated school employees at our school sites, elementary teachers, those who report to work sites, the regular day and collaboration day times to report, even the minimum days, we worked with union partners to make sure that we got the schedule set for when our educators report. So you see that there. 8:25 is still there. We have middle school 7:50 and high school 8:20 on the regular day, and then collaboration day. You know, we have the later start times at the middle school and high school, and our scholars at the elementary level get out at 1 o'clock. So those times are there, and they will be provided to our employees through their unions on the certificated side, and we will continue to message that out as well so that we're all clear before we go off for the summer break. And then for our classified employees as well, all of our staff at the school sites, different classifications, like our secretaries, our clerks, and those who work in the front office, we wanted to give a little bit of flexibility for our employees and their school site leaders that need different individuals in the school site front office at certain times because of getting things set up like substitute teachers, getting them going for the day, and other matters related to school operations. And so what we're going to be communicating to employees over the next few weeks are the start times and full-time employees at the middle school level, because students come in at 8. The start times would be between 7, some for 7 o'clock and some at 7:30. And then part-time employees, 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And with high school, mirrors the same process to give the school sites some flexibility and employees as well. 7:30 or 8 o'clock would be many of the full-time schedules, depending on what time you're needed at the school site or what time they're needed. And then a part-time 8 or 8:30 due to student arrival time. So our late start, the state mandate of having scholars come in later also provided the requirement for us to shift our employees start times later on as well, to make sure that we cover the time that our students are there and parents are coming in, as well as provide safety for our students when they're at the school site or our scholars. Now, I will say this, as we continue to work with our school sites and message out to our classified employees, different schedules, we will continue to work with CSEA and continue to make sure that we have a listening ear when it comes to scheduling and report times for staff. But once again, with the state mandate, we shifted our schedules of employees in alignment with student report times as well. So I want to thank all of our school site leaders, employees, staff, our negotiations team, and anyone who's had a hand in helping us figure out how to make sure that all of our 8,000 employees, or at least those associated with school sites, move forward in a way that will benefit our young people that are at the school site on a daily basis, right? So I want to thank you for that. We're going to move on to that last slide. And now it's your turn. Anything that you heard from us or anything that you may have questions on, I'm going to turn it over to the team to give us just a little front load for that. And then we're here to answer questions. We have various directors from various departments. We have leaders on the call, and we have others who might be able to answer some of those questions. And as was stated earlier, should we not be able to answer some, we'll make sure that we get back to you with a follow-up as we create a document from tonight's presentation. So Beatrice, did you and your team want
Yes.
anything about questions? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Funches. And again, thank you for the amazing information that you shared with all of us tonight. And so just for the community and for anyone that has a question, again, we definitely want to hear from you. In order to provide a live question or comment, we ask that you please raise your virtual hand. If you look at the bottom of your screen where it says reactions, you click on that and there's a little hand and then a little sign to the right of that says raise hand, and that will automatically raise your hand for you, or you can just raise your physical hand. But again, this will be an opportunity for you to ask any questions or to make any comments. And I'm going to ask Esmeralda and Michelle to please monitor the chat. Help me monitor the chat, and we'll start with Latoya Smith.
Good afternoon. My question is happening regarding with breakfast at the high schools. I noticed in the chat the response was that they can come as late for sunrise until breakfast is going to be served. Do the schools already have the times in which the breakfasts are going to start being served at the high schools and middle schools?
Hey, Luis, do you want to jump in on that one for this evening?
Yes. Right now, we don't have all the schedules for the breakfast, but usually breakfast is 20 minutes before the beginning of the start of the day for students, between 30 to 30 minutes. So we will confirm with you. I will send you the information once nutrition service provides us with that information.
And then my last question is just regarding, I see that it says CAPS ends at 6 p.m. each day. Is that for middle and end for high school?
Yes, so 6 p.m. is the end time for everybody. Elementary, middle, and high school. We run till 6 p.m.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Latoya. And next we have Mr. Mickey Alexander.
How you doing today?
I'm sorry, Mickey Alexander.
Nah, you're good. You're good. Nah, you're good. It's all good. I actually have 3 questions, and I'll go in order because it's almost for every department. The first question is around transportation. Where did the decision come from to choose first student to take the majority of the boatload of the K through 12 versus ciphering it out throughout all of the 3 that you guys have here? Because how I was reading it was special education for our kiddos. So that's 1. 2, this one's directed towards CAPS. So in there, when you're talking about CAPS, awesome. Thank you for changing the format. However, if you didn't have the option for Sunrise when you were signing up your kiddo, does that mean that that school doesn't have Sunrise? Because I didn't see that option. And then 3, I guess this one goes around security as far as lighting, because we do know that daylight savings is going to be affected during this time. So what have we done as far as partnering with the cities as far as the lighting at the schools? Because it's going to be darker when our kiddos are getting out and they're walking around. So what have we done when it's concerning that? Those are my questions.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Ms. Espinoza, could you please answer the transportation question?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. That's a really great question. So when you look at the grand picture of transportation, we have by far more special ed busing than we do gen ed busing. So when you look at the allocation of the number of routes distributed to each provider, they're divvied up pretty equally. So it could be 130 to one provider, 125 to another provider, 135 to the other. But the actual distribution, the number of buses is pretty equitable amongst the 3 providers. So it's not that one is receiving more routes than the other, basically.
I hope that answered your question. Okay, perfect. And then Ms. Pearson, would you like to respond to the CAPS question? Thank you.
Yes. So it was 2 different little boxes, and the Aries, when it went live, you had options because we had planned this entire year to offer Sunrise at all the schools. So there's 2 boxes. One was for CAPS, one was for Sunrise. So if you happen to miss checking the Sunrise box, then I'm going to put my clerical's email in the chat. And if you just want to send her an email with your child's ID number, name, first and last, and the school they're attending, she can make sure that your child is enrolled in Sunrise too. So it's 2 little boxes. So might have just missed the one. So I'm going to put that in the chat right now.
Thank you so much. And then we have the 3rd question with regards to lighting.
Yeah, I'll take that. And Mickey, love the questions because that means you're actively listening. So really appreciate it. Yeah, we have, so the school district controls all the lights that are on campuses. And so they're already set to dusk to dawn. So they should be on. Should be is the magic word. And if you see some that are not, we'll let our maintenance and operations department know. Probably your best avenue initially will be to report it to the school site so we can get a work order into our maintenance team. We have also worked with the cities. We're in multiple political jurisdictions, City of San Bernardino, City of Highland County. We have informed all of them as it relates to Late Start and asked them to, that's part of the roadway improvements they're doing as well, to look at all the streetlights that are around our schools and our boundaries to make those adjustments to make sure they're on when it's dark. So thanks for catching that.
Thank you so much again for asking those questions. Very, very informative. Sabrina Duran is next.
Hi, so I had 2 questions, and I know one was answered in the chat. I'm a parent and I work for the district as a CSO. My daughter goes to CAPS after school on the days that I can't pick her up on time. Now that the time has changed, I'm never going to be able to pick her up when she gets out. So she'll have to go to CAPS every day. But with the time changing, sports is going to be extended later. So now I'm going to be working past 6 o'clock. Is there anything that's going to be done to help the employees of the district that have to stay later due to this new time change? Because even 6 o'clock, I won't be able to make it. I'd have to leave my partner alone at work to pick up my daughter, as opposed to staying with him and helping him, because I can't, because CAPS is still ending at 6 and not extending their hours. And then the next one is, has anything been looked at on the side of CSOs and security, since now our hours are changing, we're getting a duty-free lunch. We haven't hired enough CSOs to cover campuses for this. How is the stress going to be alleviated from that? Because now at the middle schools, one CSO is going to be left working by themselves during that 30-minute period. CSOs at high schools are going to be left down to 2 or 3. How are we maintaining the safety and security for the students and staff while all this is being done?
Ms. Duran, thank you for your questions. We appreciate it. Number one, thank you for being a dedicated and committed employee in our district. We very much appreciate you. And you posed 2 excellent questions. And the first one around supporting employee work schedules, because you may have to stay longer and may not be able to be there to pick up your child at that time. I would ask, and this could be an offline conversation that we can have, your work hours going to 6 o'clock. That's something that we need to probably take a look at, and why that happened, and how often it may happen. And then follow up there with Chief Polino and team, and just see how we might be able to support you, and even work with Ansel. I guess to answer your question, we will look at all options to support you. May not have that answer tonight, but I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. And then to answer your question about safety on campus in terms of 30 minutes and being down a couple CSOs and hiring and such. So we haven't finalized said schedules for CSOs just yet, because we are examining and evaluating what you just stated, amongst a few other matters that we're taking a look at when it comes to CSOs and safety on campus. We value you, and we value the work that you do. So I'm going to make this a long answer. We'll bring this to an end. Number one, we'll follow up on the after school care, right? You'll get a call from me or my team, and we'll work through that. But on the other side, we're still working through the CSO piece for safety and coverage and things like that, okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Duran. Appreciate you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much for your questions. Next, we have Desi. Okay, Desi lowered her hand. We have Ms. Latoya Smith.
Yes, I was just wondering what, just in confirming that the high schools are still going to have 0 period, and if so, what time, do we know what time the 0 period will start? 0 period will start for the new school year.
And for that, I can just give you information that 0 period is a consideration for each high school. Not all the high schools have it, and they are working on what they are going to be. They have determined the schedule for 0 periods. What we know is that 0 period is basically more for physical education, and not all the curriculums are in 0 period. So just the high schools are working currently on developing their master schedule. Once we have their master schedule, we will have that information available.
Do we know when the high schools will have it been finalized for their schedules? So we know when we can contact the school sites to find out when the timing will be available?
Not at this. I don't have an exact date. They are still working on developing those master schedules.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Smith. Next, we have Ms. Lorena Fernandez. If you can just go ahead and unmute yourself, please. Okay, I'll come back to Lorena and we'll continue with Sonia Bañuelos, please. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, my question was about zero period also. At the last town hall meeting, I inquired about this question. I was told somebody was gonna give me a phone call and give me that answer. It's been months and months and months and nobody has reached out to me. They also said they were gonna call me so that I can join the negotiation committee. Nobody ever reached out to me regarding that either. I just think that we need time as parents to prepare our schedules for this new change, and the district not having accountability and even having the decency to give us a call back to answer our question. I think that shows that we don't have a lot of say in all these decisions right now. So again, my question is about zero period for high school.
Definitely. And before Mr. Chavez goes, there is a number here that I just posted in the chat. If you could please text that number to me with your information and we will definitely get back to you. Just go ahead and indicate your name, your child's name, and then someone will definitely get back to you. And I apologize.
Yeah, we apologize for not contacting you and letting you know. One of the things is that zero period hasn't been established yet. Again, high schools are currently working on developing the master schedule, and the master schedule is the one who determines if there is a need of zero period or not. And they will be able to work. And once we have the information of zero period, we will make it public so they know what are the schedules for each of the high schools. And that will determine also what courses are going to be will be available during zero period. So again, we don't have that information yet. Once we get it, we'll make it public.
Thank you so much. And before we go to Victor, we have a question in the chat from Desi, and it says, also, what was the purpose of the survey that went out to all parents asking our input on the schedule? If it was a lot to change the times.
All right, I'll jump in here, and I tried to respond in the chat there, and I'll simply say this. So, as you may know, if you've been in this district for any amount of time, our board is always expects us to get input from our community and parents. And so, yes, it was law that we start no earlier than 8 o'clock for middle school and no earlier than 8:30 for high school. But we had 3 different options that we were considering. The schedule that you saw tonight, and there were 2 other options that we were considering based on busing, based on transportation, based on input from our staff and parents. So the input that you provided allowed us to get a good sense of which one of those 3 schedules would work best for our San Bernardino City Unified School community. And that was the purpose of getting your input, to see how we can best make the best decision to support the implementation of Late Start. So excellent question.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Funches. And she also has another comment. She said that she was unable to, said her mic was not working. Okay. And her question is, this is from Desi still, are you offering busing for middle school kids since the hours are changing, but parents' work schedules aren't changing?
So Marie, if you want to jump in.
Yes, yes. I responded in the chat, but so policy around busing or eligibility for busing has not changed. If your child attends a middle school and they're attending their home school, you qualify for home to school busing if you live beyond 2.5 miles. Or if your child is accepted into one of our program schools, such as Richardson or Rodriguez, then busing is provided.
Yes, and that's a similar question to what Elizabeth Romero has. She says that her question is, how can she help parents who are not driving and don't qualify for transportation?
So all of our schools have what we call an empty seat program. Parents can receive that application from their school site at the beginning of the school year. Any school that has busing, if there are empty seats on those buses, parents can apply for that empty seat, and the school sites issue out, if and when there are any seats available, they issue those out to parents on a first come, first served basis, or it's at the discretion of the school site. So for example, if I have a bus route and I have 5 empty seats and we have 5 applications, and once we determine eligibility in mid-September, the school site would communicate to the families and issue out those empty seats.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to go back to the people that have their hands raised. Lorena Fernandez, if you could please unmute.
Hi, I apologize. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So I work currently for the district. Actually, I work for Anderson School. So it is a special needs school. So I'm not sure how this actually affects us, because nothing has really been communicated on maybe when our start time is going to be. And we're technically still a school with the district, but we're switching over to a program. So our students, the majority, well, is only 18 to 22. And I guess to piggyback off that is our busing. How is it that because in the district it still shows elementary, but then some of us consider a high school, but we're a post-secondary program. So I'm not exactly sure how this will all affect us, especially with our students.
I'm going to try to jump in here on that one. I thank you for that question. At this time, there's no change right now. I know it was a topic of discussion the other day, but your age range of the scholars that you have is unique and a little bit different in terms of what we're doing with Late Start. So just to put your mind at ease right now, no change at this time, okay? Now, with that being said, we need to confirm that. So we'll be speaking with Mrs. Anna Applegate here this week, and Dr. Lundy, just to make sure that we get some information out to you all in a timely manner, okay?
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Thank you. I have another one via phone, via text. It says, at the last town hall meeting, I inquired regarding how zero period would look like for high schools. Was told that someone would follow up with me regarding my question since no answer was available at the moment. I was also told someone would contact me so I could join. Okay, I think we already answered this one. The negotiations committee, till this day, no one has reached out to me, nor has my question been answered. Perfect. So I will definitely take your contact information now, and we will have someone get back to you. So thank you for sending the text, and we definitely will get a hold of someone to reach out to you and support you with this process. And that was Mr. Ann, I believe. Okay, so next we'll go with Latoya Smith.
So I have 2 questions. One is regarding the continuation schools. Will they have the same start times as the regular high schools? And then my other question is regarding security and policing. So with the option 3 that's been decided on, the high schools and the elementaries are getting out within like 5 minutes of each other. So is the district, I saw that you guys are going to have more crosswalks and things of that sort, but is the district going to have more police presence and patrolling, maybe around Pacific, who has 3 different elementary schools within less than a mile of each other that are getting released, or such as San Andreas, who has 2 elementaries in the area? Those are just concerns for me when it comes to the safety of our kids. So I just wanted to check on that.
Mr. Vatir, you want to hop in there, sir? At all?
Hey, Dr. Funches, I can respond.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Lady Ann, thanks for the question. Yeah, in terms of policing, we run a 24-hour police operation. Of course, along with our partners, the Sheriff Department, San Bernardino PD, we have an active patrol that's always on. So we'll continue to support our elementary school, middle schools, as well as our high schools. Of course, then we continue to assess the number of police officers that we need across the district. However, nothing will change in terms of our efforts when it comes to policing across our district.
And I will answer about the schedule for the continuation schools. Yes, the continuation high schools, they are adhering to the same start at 8:30. We already work with that schedule, and that schedule started since this school year. So they have been working from starting at 8:30. So the schedule for continuation schools are the same as that they have.
Okay, so can I get like further clarification regarding the second part about having security or more policing in the area? And the only reason I'm asking that is that I actually spoke about this at the board last year before this discussion was about to be implemented, about how many students we have getting out at the same time as the high school and the issues that we have with the safety and the high school students coming out at the same time. So I just want to clear, like, just real, I think maybe I just didn't understand what he said. Is there going to be more security and policing in the area to make sure that our babies are getting hurt? Because like I said, we lost a student a couple of years ago in that same area by a car, someone who was driving a car. So is there going to be something that's implemented in the beginning to try to make sure, in the beginning it's very populated and things of that sort, to make sure that it's done in a way to protect our babies, our students, and the employees who are working for this district?
Yeah, Ms. Smith, definitely. I clearly understand what you're asking. Of course, our efforts is to make sure that our campuses across the district, which sits across 109 square miles over 83 sites, are secured. So the answer to your question is yes. We're doing our best to make sure that we're responding to the needs that's going to occur when late starts occurs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Polino.
Thank you, Chief, for your response. We have another question from Nikki Alexander. If you could please unmute.
Yeah, this question is to almost piggyback on Ms. Smith's question. And this is going towards the HR. So I guess that's Mr. Fuentes, and then with policing, I forgot who was speaking when it came to that.
Yes, sir.
So when we already know that there's a staffing issue right now within San Bernardino County, especially when we're dealing with individual school sites. Because I can only speak for my school site where my kiddo goes to, and they currently don't have on-campus policing because it's not warranted at that school at this given time, and for a lot of reasons. So if we're already we're moving late start, Miss Smith, she actually brought a couple things into my brain. Her statements are very valid. We can't necessarily hire, and we all know that hiring is across the board, an issue across the board, period, as it is, but we're already not hiring. So what other plans, HR, are we doing to recruit and hire more people for this position? And what are we doing to, I guess, in a sense, I don't want to say relax, but for those sites that don't have on-campus security, especially that we're about to have a later start time, and it's going to be darker at these school sites. What are we doing? What are we doing about that?
That's an excellent question, and thank you for your attention to HR matters. I will say that there's been open recruitment or ongoing recruitment through the Personnel Commission all year. And we know that we've had challenges, not only us, but all organizations for hiring. But I am happy to say that two things just took place. A while back, we did approve CSO placement at all of the middle school campuses, including, let's say, Richardson and Rodriguez. So that's in the works to get done. I was witness the other day, there was testing going on at the Personnel Commission for said CSOs. And there was a good number of individuals taking tests. I knew one of the individuals taking it to get recruited into the CSO ranks. So to answer your question, yes, there can be a challenge. Ongoing recruitment efforts are taking place, trying to reach out to a broader let's say, group of young people through our recruitment efforts. As you might see, some of the things that we've been doing to try to broaden it out, like some of the commercials on Spectrum Cable, DMV, Omnitrans, buses, malls. We're like everywhere to try to get our recruitment efforts and candidate pools higher. But that's going to stay open, and we won't rest until we get the proper people. Will it be a challenge? Yes, I'm a very transparent individual. It will continue to be a challenge until we get through this time, but we're not going to stop trying to get the necessary security staff needed for safety in our schools.
Thank you so much, Dr. Funches. So we do have some questions in the chat. The first one is from Desi. It says, well, this is more of a, oh no, this is a question. Also, what was the purpose of this? Oh, we already answered that one, of the survey that went out. Is there a question, Esmeralda and Michelle, that has not been answered, or a comment?
There was a question that Desi sent to Keith. And she stated that it's not going to get better. This is not going to fix the issue. I see attendance being worse because working parents aren't going to be able to be home to get their kids to school or even wake them up. Pushing time back in the name of more sleep is not the solution. Jobs will not push start times back because these high school kids need sleep. College is not going to push start times back because these kids are being coddled.
I want to thank you for your comments, and we appreciate that perspective.
Definitely. Thank you. Esmeralda, is there another comment or question that we missed?
So we do have the one for Consuelo Rubio. It is that she understands that there are 74 or 76 schools, and it is really an urgent need to increase the police fleet. Days go by without seeing a patrol car at the entry or exit. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to weigh in on that, Chief, or just a comment. It was a comment.
Yeah, I don't know that if it was a question or just a comment.
Comment.
Okay, I do have a question though for you. It says, how long will it, well, this is, I think, for Eric, how long will it take to implement the crosswalks? Our school has been asking for one for the past few months, and we are still waiting for an update.
So I would need more information to answer that question. If maybe we can gather that, and I can reach out to that parent individually. I don't know.
Yes,
we're talking
perfect. Thank you so much. The parent actually submitted the question via text. So parent, if you could just clarify a little bit more, and then I will directly submit the question to Mr. Vitier in order for him to respond. And I think that's it. I don't know if we're missing anything, Michelle and Esmeralda. Thank you for all your amazing questions. We're all learning together and on this journey together. So I truly appreciate it. I see one coming in from Sabrina Duran. It says, it's a huge concern seeing as we don't have the number we need now. We are losing CSOs quicker than we can hire them. New CSOs at Richardson, Rodriguez, and Middle College is great and much needed, but the concern is when there is only one officer assigned. This poses a safety risk and issue. No CSO could be working alone at any given time.
Gotcha. And as I stated before to Ms. Duran, I want to thank her for her comments and perspectives, and we will follow up with you. And just to be very honest with you, we are doing some things behind the scene to make sure that we beef up hiring, and we feel like we'll get there in time, but I understand your concerns, and there are concerns as well. And thank you, Sabrina, for the work that you do with us, and we'll continue to work at it. So yes. I appreciate your comments.
Definitely much appreciated. Another text message that came in, I answered it, but and Anne helped me answer it, but I just want to make sure that everyone's clear. The person's asking if Middle College is going to have sunrise, and the answer is yes. So thank you for that question and for that response. And I think that's pretty much it on our end. So again, just want to thank everybody. Dr. Funches, do you want to close it?
Yeah, I do. I want to thank all of our parents, community members, employees, staff who joined us tonight. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for making sure that we understand some of your concerns, and they continue to be brought to our attention. We take them seriously, and we do want to get better as we move ahead and roll this out. This was a big deal. It was a huge lift, and the 9th largest district in the state of California. So we took our time to try to get some things right. And we're still going to be able to continue to revise and evaluate and get things done better as we implement and roll it out. So thank you. And I want to thank all of our district leaders as well for your efforts. Anyone who's had anything to do with late start implementation, and those of you that will as we go into 2023 and 24. And as always, thank our board for their ongoing support and dedication and direction so that we can listen, number one, and then respond to what is being said. So we appreciate you. And as always, have a good night. Enjoy your families. And we appreciate you and thank you for your patience with us as we continue to get better. Okay? You have a great night.